Hello, I'd like to tell you about my experiences at Yamoa. I first got hay fever when I was 19 years of age, and it was discovered that I was allergic to tree pollen. So that meant the months of March through to the end of May, sometimes the beginning of June, or when I was affected. I started eventually to dread spring, despite the fact that it was my favourite month. But it was almost as though I couldn't enjoy it. My itchy throat, the itchy eyes. Sometimes I had it so bad it would produce a really chesty cough. It was miserable. It was miserable. My sleep was disturbed because I'd be coughing in the night. It was always worse at night when the pollen seemed to settle in the evenings. I was reluctant to take any kind of antihistamines because they did make me drowsy, even the ones that said they weren't drowsy. I tried everything. I tried homeopathy, I tried herbalism, I tried all sorts of natural cures or treatments, and nothing really worked. And then it was about 15 years ago that something popped up on the internet. Actually, I was obviously looking at related sites, and this Yamoa advert pop-up thing came to my attention, and I initially thought, well, what have I got to lose? I might as well try it. I've tried everything else, but I really didn't hold out any hope. It seemed a little bit too fantastical that it was the bark of a tree, and I really honestly thought it'd be chalking it up to yet another treatment that wouldn't work. However, I wasn't completely convinced. I kind of parked it. But then it was my son, who was about 4 or 5, who hadn't shown signs of hay fever, but would often get chesty colds. And after one particular chesty cold, the doctor had said that he needed an inhaler. And I really was very reluctant to start going down that treatment because I'd known all sorts of other parents whose children were on inhalers, and they seemed to have to get stronger and stronger every year. And I thought, well, if he is going to have my profile, now really would be the best time for me to try this Yamoa for both him and myself. And again, I only took it because it was something that seemed at best it'll be something that would help, and at worst something that wouldn't do any harm, and its naturalness appealed to me for my son particularly. Anyway, I ordered the first batch, and it was so long ago that it used to just come as a powder, and you were advised to put it in jam, and I did, but my son just couldn't tolerate it. It just wasn't going to take that taste, and I remember putting it into capsules for him. He only ever needed that one dose, 1 month of Yamoa, and he's 19 now, so about the age that I first got hay fever, and this year he's had a few symptoms. He's not by any means as bad as I was, and now, 15 years on, another course has sorted him. For myself, I seem to get enormous benefit from it. It wasn't just that my symptoms lessened, I just didn't seem to have hay fever. There were some years where I didn't even look at the calendar. I didn't even anticipate it in the way that I did and dread it. But I seem to need a course every 4 or 5 years for myself, and it's usually just a season. So I take 2 tablets for about 2 or 3 months, 2 tablets a day for 2 or 3 months, and within a week, 2 weeks, I no longer have any symptoms, and then I'm able to enjoy the season. So I take it as soon as there are mild symptoms. So that seems to be my pattern. As I say, my son has managed for 15 years and has just needed a bit of a course this time. I would recommend it to anyone who's suffering with any kind of respiratory problem. I would recommend it for asthma and hay fever because they're the things that my family have successfully treated. not just in terms of a lessening of symptoms, to the extent where all the symptoms disappeared. As soon as I spoke to Tanya on the phone, I knew I could trust the product, actually. Tanya Wedding, she was a mother herself, and she seemed to know an awful lot about the symptoms I was describing. And she was somebody that I felt was an expert in her field. She was professional. She offered a really good service. In the last few years, I've had to go to another stockist, and again, that's been effortless. You know, within a day or two, I've received the tablets, and I've been able to start the course the next day or the day after. So I can only say that it's been a professional, effective, and thoroughly easy method to cure these symptoms. And for the last 15 years I've been able to enjoy the spring, and I now realise why it is my favourite season, because it's full of colour. I particularly love to see all the trees in blossom and pollinating, and I can enjoy it. And I don't have to worry about being outside at social events at that time. It really, really has been a revelation for me, and it's changed my life in that season. So thank you.